Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Well, this is going to be something a little different. Um, Back in the day, this was the only way you could learn about stuff. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have the internet. A lot of times, things like this would not be stocked in your local library. So, a lot of one place called Desert Publications started representing a lot of reproducing a lot of military manuals and stuff like this. So this particular one is called Police Guide to Lockpicking and Improvised Lockpicks. Later on, this title was changed to just Improvised Lockpicks and Lockpicking. This particular one was produced in 1976. And it basically, covers the just a little about everything on lock picking. You'd be surprised what they knew back in the day if you weren't a locksmith. And here's the index here, title of table of contents, but it goes over quite a few different things. So I'm just going to show you this book um, and discuss what was available. It's got pictures in here also, but it basically covers like the early, when Yale basically up until 1850s when Yale invented the pen tumbler, and they say that basically it's just a adaptation of an earlier Egyptian design. So he basically covers the basics of locks and everything, and then it goes into lock picking, and it goes into why locks can be picked, and it's basically the tolerance of the locks here, and he shows how you can't machine holes perfectly correct, even though they try. Let's see. And then it just goes over to the different types of picking depending on the type of lock. A warded lock, how easy those are. You just need a pick set. Then it goes to pin tumblers. But this is pretty cool. It shows the warded locks, and then it shows the breakdown of the mechanism and what you're basically manipulating. That's a warded lock. That's basically what you're hitting. Is either one or both of those. And you're basically freeing up the shackle. That's why you don't see a locking lug up there. That's why that shimming won't work on those, because they're just that much easier just to pick. And he shows the pick sets that were available, or you could just modify a warded key. And then he just goes under explaining how to pick a lock, and it shows a breakdown of the locks. So like I said, this information, this was the only way you could learn back then, was basically reading a book about it and making your own picks a lot of times, because it wasn't until the early 80s that pick companies started selling. But here's a snap gun. This is an improvised snap gun out of a piece of wire, basically. It's showing you how to make an improvised pick gun or snap gun. And then it shows you the ones that are available. Back then, they're still available now from China, these particular types. It shows you what you're doing, basically, when you're snapping the pins and torquing it. It talks about wrapping. Now, this rocker picks, what they're talking about is jigglers, key jigglers. You won't really recognize them when you turn the page, when they actually show what a jiggler is. And then picks for tubular locks. These are his jigglers. You can tell they're like homemade. It looks, but rockers basically. They're trying to rock and use this as the torque also. I mean the tension wrench. So you're jiggling and wiggling like this. These were the early, before Huck and everything came out. This is what Huck was copying. It was the early tubular type of pick. And then it shows you a tubular lock and explains those, and then it shows you how to use this rubber banded thing. And I had tried to make one out of a bullet casing. I think it was like something that would fit around there, like a a 30 carbine or a 9mm. I was trying to make my own at one time. Then it shows you how to make some. Well, this is basically a southward right here. This is what southward did, that double end. Commercially available picking tools. You can look at that if you want. Then it shows you some commercially available ones. You can tell those are the riveted ends. It looks a lot like the HPC type of picks. So he's basically just showing you the different profiles that are available. And then this is kind of interesting. This was before jackknives and stuff like this. The surreptitious way of kind of carrying a pick set. Some people were trying to, design some of those things like that. Sorry, I'm trying to look through the viewfinder and read this at the same time. And it covers, like a surreptitious one, like a pin set, that you break it down. It's got a little collet like this and everything, but it just looks like a pin. This is the tensioner on the outside. I think Southward makes something kind of similar to that right now, nowadays. And how to use it. Of course, it's double-sided wafer lock there. And it shows one of the mechanism taken out and the little plug where the pieces stick out to engage it. So yeah, this was the way you basically. Now this is pretty cool here. This is Schlage wafer picks. It's basically like a shotgun, but these are set up like that, so it goes in. You put it like that, it becomes your tension tool. I'm not sure what Schlage they're talking about right there, because that looks. He says wafer picks. And wafer tumblers are not too hard to pick, so I don't know why you would want to. If that was made for a pin tumbler, like a shotgun for a pin tumbler, and that actually, if that cup was always that high, it might work, but I don't know. Anyways. And then it goes to the improvised picking tool. Now you look, you've gone over half of this book before you even reach the improvised picking tools. And now that's the main title of the book. But it covers some pretty good information. Like I said, that how to make them out of feeler gauges. Now, don't feel bad if you've ever made a set like this, as long as they work. I don't know what he was doing with that. And that's a really high reach. I don't see how you're going to get that in a keyway, but he liked it for some reason. And then there's the different types. This is like basically a X-Acto knife that you take and make into a pick set. Then it goes over to Sesame Padlock, basically decoding it. I guess they didn't know about the lever method, where you just go past one of these in there and lever down and push on the shackle and open it. But anyways, and then it goes into handcuffs, because it basically was a police guide anyway, so I want to show you the basic handcuffs. And Sparrows makes a handcuff shim thing now that slides in like this, but it shows you where to. That would only work on a single locking ball one. If you had double locked it, we'd have to pick this first. And then it's something that I've known about for quite a while, is you would take basically a standard pin. These were back in the day when they were metal, and you crimp this end right here with either a pair of nail clippers or something like that, and it turns out to be a very good surreptitious handcuff key thing. So like I said, back in the day, this was basically all you had to do. And they were talking about, a lot of times they had to warn people, that this is not, I think where he says it in the front, this is not designed, where is it? Anyways, I like one part where he was saying there basically that burglars are going to find plenty of open doors. This is not, going to basically tell someone how to pick locks, but that's one of them that I had. I have this other one, Keys to Understanding Tubular Locks, and this Desert Publications. Like I said, they would go through and publish a bunch of different books. Sometimes it would be things like this. Um, these are just field manual reprints on some of these. So back in the day, they were really worried. See, this is from Paladin Press. They don't want you to use it in criminal purposes. So, knowledge was regulated a lot back then. You had to know someone that knew. You either had to know someone that was a locksmith or research and find books like this, because there was no YouTube, like I said. So I was exposed to a lot of this. I bought these books back in the late 70s, and I bought a pick set and everything, but I never really got into it like I have recently. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you want me to go over the tubular one, I'll go over that one the next time. I also was going to, if you like a publication, I was going to break out my old Yale catalog from the early 1900s and just flip through some of the pages and show you. I mean, I can't go through everything on it because it's a really big book, but go through like the padlock sections and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this. Leave me any comments below whether you want to see any more of this, or it's just old history, it's just nostalgia. But thank you for watching, and happy picking, everyone.